So, you're just a leech living off your parents at your ripe old age, huh, Lily? Leeches should get lost. This is going to be our house. My 8-year-old niece, Emily, spat out these hurtful words, grinning. My sister Anne and her husband Sam were snickering next to Emily. I could guess the kind of parenting they were doing, given the outrageous statement from an 8-year-old. I no longer feel any need to forgive them, my niece, my sister, or her husband. I felt the pent-up anger inside me flare up. My name is Lily. I live with my parents at our family home. I used to live on my own, but I moved back home because I was worried about my aging parents. I love my work, and I'm not at all interested in relationships. I never intended to get married in my life, and one of the reasons I decided to live at home was to cherish the time I had with my parents. My dad was a chef, and of course, he's really good at cooking. Even after retiring, he cooked for us at home, and I always looked forward to meals. Having experienced living alone, I missed my dad's cooking, which is one of the reasons why I returned home, but that's a secret. When I decided to live with them and support the household, my mom retired from the part-time job she had held for many years. She was hesitant, but I suggested it might be the right time. Both my mom and dad had been doing a lot of standing at their jobs and had sometimes thrown out their backs. I convinced them to quit their jobs, telling them there was no need to push themselves since I was supporting the household. I'm a mess outside of work, and I'm not good at housekeeping, so I appreciate that my parents are at home doing chores. It's a win-win relationship between my parents and me. Disturbing the stable life are my sister and her family. My sister Anne and her husband Sam bring their 8-year-old daughter Emily almost every week. They come uninvited, drive 30 minutes to our house, and ask for meals. My sister says, "It saves on our food expenses, so we come every week. Raising a child really costs a lot of money." And her husband Sam neither denies nor hides it. They would eat the meals my dad cooked as if it was their right, then leave without cleaning up. That was their weekly routine. Even if they just came, ate, and left, I might have let them do without anger, but my sister's other behaviors were unacceptable. Every time before leaving, Anne would scrounge around our house. She would take things she thought could be sold on an online flea market app. So I've had to hide my accessories and important clothes in the back of my closet. On top of that, she rummages through our fridge, taking food ingredients without asking us. When I told her that would be a crime if she were a stranger, she dismissed me, saying, "You wouldn't understand, Lily. It's tough to keep a household running when you're married." But Anne is not the only selfish one. Emily, who inherited Anne's genes, has become more and more like her as she grew up. Ew, this is gross. Emily made a sour face at the meal my dad made. Neither Anne nor Sam scolded her. The meal was made by my dad, who's a retired chef with pride. There was no way it could be bad, but Emily complained, "I can't eat this, it's disgusting, I want cake." When Sam heard that Emily wanted cake, he turned to me and asked, "Do we have any cake? Emily seems to want some." Even I couldn't help but frown and respond, "Huh?" Sensing potential trouble, my father quickly stepped between Sam and me, apologetically saying, "Sorry, we didn't prepare any cake. Did you not enjoy today's meal, Emily?" Emily seems rather displeased. "Yes, Grandpa's food is always yucky. I only want to eat sweet things. Desserts are the best. I don't want to eat Grandpa's food." "Oh, I find it convenient and it saves us on grocery bills, so it's fantastic. But if Emily says so, we have no choice. Dad, Mom, please prepare some sweets and cake for Emily next week." I couldn't forgive my sister Anne for accepting Emily's selfishness as a matter of course and bossing our parents around. However, if I spoke out now, our already shrinking parents would feel even more troubled. I pitied my parents and, unable to complain that day either, sent off Anne's family as always after they had finished looking through our house. I can't believe the audacity, acting that way just because it's their parents' house? Unforgivable. Exposing my anger, my mother apologized, saying, "It's my fault for not having the cake ready. I'm sorry." while my father silently discarded the leftover food prepared for Emily. My heart ached at the sight of my parents' actions. I spent the following week contemplating whether I should tell Anne and her family not to visit anymore, only to have them arrive at our home yet again. Without any notice, as if it were a matter of course, Anne's family walked in asking, "Is dinner ready yet?" Emily complained about the cake my mother had bought, saying, "I prefer one with more strawberries." Sam changed the television channel without asking. Seeing my sister and her family doing as they pleased as usual, I was flabbergasted when my father's cooking was ready. Anne and Sam were enjoying their meal, chatting, and even sharing a bottle of wine. Emily, dissatisfied with the cake we'd bought and refusing to eat a single bite of the meal, was playing a game on her smartphone saying, "Grandpa and Grandma are really useless." As I wished them to leave sooner, Anne suddenly cheerfully mentioned, "Oh, right, we've decided to move into this house from next week." Huh? My voice echoed with surprise, and it seems that my parents, who hadn't heard this before, were equally shocked. Sam supplemented Anne's announcement saying, "It's a hassle to drive here every week. Besides, if we live together, we can save even more on groceries, and we won't have to pay rent." Unable to utter a word, my parents stayed silent, and I finally objected, "Wait a minute. That's quite sudden. We don't have enough rooms, and you're planning to live here without contributing financially? That's way too presumptuous." Anne and Sam's faces contorted at my words, but it was Emily, not them, who rebutted first. "Lily is an embarrassing adult who needs to move out anyway." Setting her smartphone on the table, Emily stared at me defiantly. "What do you mean by I need to move out?" "Lily, aren't you a parasite living off your parents at your age? Parasites should get out. This will be our house." Emily, sounding smug, received stifled laughs from Anne and Sam. For a moment, I wondered if an 8-year-old should talk this way. I had to do a double take when Emily, all of 8 years old, called me a parasite. Based on the reactions of Anne and Sam, I assumed that they had indoctrinated their daughter to think of me in such derogatory terms. "No, Emily, don't say such things. It'll hurt Lily's feelings," Anne said. "I don't want to live with Lily. I want her gone by next week. It's embarrassing to live with a parasite. What if my friends find out?" Emily was looking at me as if I were garbage. Anne and Sam were chuckling beside her. I felt a surge of anger, having endured their behavior for so long. "All right, as per your wishes, I will leave by next week. Rest assured," I responded. Anne's family seemed satisfied with my response. They left, as usual, without helping clean up. My parents looked terrified at the prospect of living with Anne's family, but they were relieved when I proposed a solution. There was so much to do before Anne's family moved in. My parents helped out, and it was a great relief. The house had been tidied up, and the move is complete. Just as little Emily asked, I've effectively moved out of the house for them. The day arrived when Anne's family was supposed to move in. I was busy organizing my stuff in my new place. I missed my old house where I had lived for so many years, but the new place was nice, and I felt a sense of relief, knowing that I wouldn't be irked every time Anne's family visited. While I was engrossed in cleaning, Anne had apparently been trying to reach me on the phone. My phone rang again, showing numerous missed calls from Anne. I picked up. "Lily, why didn't you pick up earlier? There's a problem with our house." Anne cried. "Well, it's my house actually. I've already demolished it," I said, half chuckling. Anne screamed, "What have you done?" I could only imagine their shock when they arrived to find the house in the midst of demolition. You see, when I had moved back to support my parents, the house was transferred to my name. It was my call to demolish it. I figured it was better to knock it down than let Anne's family take it over. The house was old anyway, and my parents agreed with my decision. I wanted my parents to enjoy their retirement, so I took care of all their expenses. Emily's comment about me being a parasite was, therefore, greatly misguided. I explained all of this to Anne. "You and Emily have said a lot of wrong things about me. It's not good to educate your daughter like this. It'd be a pity if Emily turned out to be like you."
I told Anne, my voice dripping with sarcasm. She seemed more shocked than anything else. She'd selfishly run her mouth and then came to me almost in tears asking, "What should we do? After all, we've already terminated our lease and moved out from our previous house. We're going to end up homeless. Emily is still only 8 years old." "Maybe it's good for Emily to experience hardship," I responded casually while continuing to clean. Anne started crying. "How could you be so heartless?" I thought that should be my line. Who was it that repeatedly insulted me through their own words and through their daughter? I asked her. "I'm sorry. I'll make Emily apologize too. Please, just for tonight, let us stay in your new place," Anne begged. "No can do. Both Dad and Mom are now scared to meet you. You always say negative things. Our new home is fully accessible and they both seem to like it. Please stop interfering with our happiness. I'm hanging up now. I'm busy." "Wait, please!" Anne was still yelling, but I mercilessly hung up the phone. Afterwards, Anne kept calling numerous times, but I ignored her. It seemed like she also tried to reach out to our parents, but they too ignored her calls. Eventually, the relentless call stopped. Presumably, Anne and her family managed to find a place to stay. When I wondered where they went, my mother explained the situation to Dad and me a few days later. Apparently, Anne had been sending messages to Mom via text only. It seems she's now staying with Sam's parents. Sam's mom, i.e. Anne's mother-in-law, is a very strict woman when it comes to rules and manners, and Anne disliked her. Anne appears to be struggling living under the roof of such a stern mother-in-law. Emily, too, who used to be spoiled rotten, seems to be learning a lot from this strict mother-in-law. There's no doubt she would have grown into a terrible adult if she continued her old ways, so in retrospect, this seems to be a good thing. It may be tough on Emily, but it's unavoidable. I hope she'll manage to become a well-mannered grown-up. It seems Anne and Sam were more broke than we imagined. Sam was a fan of gambling, frequently squandering his money on various bets. Anne wasn't against gambling and didn't stop him, even enjoying it with him at times. However, they accumulated a substantial amount of debt due to their gambling. In order to repay this debt, it seems that they wanted to live with our parents. I was dumbfounded by how audacious their reason was. Sam ended up returning to his parents' house, but reportedly disappeared after a few days. Whether he ran away of his own accord due to being chased by debt collectors, or was forcibly taken away to work, it was unclear. Regardless, since he left a note saying, "I'm leaving home, please don't search for me," the police treated it as a case of him simply leaving home. Anne, without any savings, is now apparently working multiple jobs from dawn to dusk. She's sending daily messages to Mom about her hardships, but it seems Mom has no intention of helping Anne. "We raised her that way, but I think this is a necessary trial for her," Mom said. For your information, our parents and Sam's parents are on good terms and frequently communicate. When Mom apologized to Sam's mom for the trouble caused by Anne and Emily, Sam's mom energetically responded, "Having these kids who are worth educating has added some spice to my life. I apologize for the trouble my son caused. As an apology, I'll make sure to educate my daughter-in-law and granddaughter well." Anyway, my parents and I are relieved to have cut ties with Anne and her family. We're relishing the fact that we can now spend our days without the constant dread and annoyance. Dad, who had lost some confidence in his cooking after Emily's criticism, is now joyfully showing off his culinary skills thanks to our new house with a spacious kitchen. I've always loved Dad's cooking, and every time I say, "delicious," he seems more motivated to cook. Mom, who used to get exhausted every time Anne's family visited and lost the energy to go outside, is now often going out since we moved. She joined a local club and resumed her old hobby of painting. My mom's forte is watercolor painting. She's always joyfully crafting her artwork under the gentle guidance of her teacher. Recently, she's been heading out to the park, sketchbook in hand, to draw various objects and scenes. We're eagerly looking forward to the upcoming exhibition by the art club my mom is a part of, and we plan to attend. My life continues as it always has. Busy but enjoyable as I continue doing the work I love. The constant nagging from my sister and her family has finally ceased, reducing my stress levels significantly. It wasn't until I felt this relief that I realized just how much stress they had been causing me. It's refreshing to remember just how bright and cheerful I can be. My parents are aging, but they are enjoying their lives now, which makes me happy. Even if they eventually need care, our home is equipped with accessibility features, making caregiving easier. Lily, thanks to you, we are so happy. We truly appreciate it, my mother-in-law often says. My father echoes her sentiments with a warm smile. Indeed, thank you. In part, my devotion to my parents was born from a desire not to have regrets when the inevitable separation comes. However, seeing them so pleased is the greatest reward. I want to continue living this slow-paced, warm life, and will do what I can to ensure our daily lives remain this way.